Good morning, guys. E206, Season 5, Episode 206. It is Wednesday morning, and just leaving home. 61 degrees outside, a blanket of clouds in the sky, and just leaving home, like I said. Today is Wednesday, which means I'm on the road. However, I've got a lot of things going on right now. I've got 3 meetings that I absolutely have to attend, not including other meetings that I don't necessarily have to be in. And then also, I had some people reach out to me in the last week, almost a week, 5 days, including some elected officials, and they would like me to start attending these meetings that I used to attend again. Because I guess everything's going pretty badly, and they want me there to speak on people's behalf. And I'm like, why should I? Before, when I was going all the time, I had all kinds of issues with people. Half the people like you, half the people dislike you. It's just a constant back and forth and bickering and all this stuff. And we did some good, but also some things failed that we needed to keep working on. And I had someone reach out to me last Friday and say, why aren't you there anymore? We need you. I support you, all this stuff. Then I had a couple people yesterday, including one elected person, reach out to me and say, we have to have you there. Maybe there's a way that we can get you appointed. So there's one person who's going to be not seeking re-election next year, and they would like to know if I'm interested in being appointed to the position until the election happens, and then possibly running. And I said, honestly, these 6 months, 8 months since I haven't been going have been great. I had more time with my family, more time to do other things, but it seems like we're going in that direction where we might need to go. So I'm thinking about that. If so, I may go tonight. However, I've got a 4-hour drive this morning, 4-hour drive back, 2 or 3 hours of playing, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to go to some meeting. I don't know. I'm so disgusted by the way things are going there too. It's like, how can one person make that much of a difference? Why can't other people step up? Why can't other people speak? So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Right now, early morning, just leaving home, and we'll see what happens here. Last night, got most of the stuff figured out for our trip. I just needed my wife's final okay on the 4 shore excursions that we picked, and hopefully we'll do that tonight. I mean, we don't have to. We can do it on the ship. I mean, there's no time limit until it gets full, but hopefully we'll finish that up tonight, and we'll go from there. So, all right, for now, I'm going to let you go, and I'll be back to update you soon. All right, guys, I'm back. So, still driving. It's still early in the trip. I've only been driving a little over an hour. But I just wanted to mention, I just finished watching a video by a guy who was a poker player, and he moved on to slots after poker, and he did videos and got a big following for a while, and then he was exposed on the internet for who he was, that he was a poker player, and he was a serious poker player and did it for a living. And then he became an advantage slot player, and then he was exposed by somebody. So he shut down the whole channel, just deleted the whole channel, and now he's back to using his old channel. And I just watched a video where he went to like 10 casinos plus and didn't show anything, just showed himself walking in and walking out. And that's the problem here. I mean, do I want to get 1 million views? Nah, that would be cool, but I don't think I want to. But I'm not going to expose everything that we do and ruin it for myself. And he would censor out a lot of the stuff so you wouldn't know exactly what he was doing. And I feel bad for him because he learned it the hard way. But what we do, you got to kind of keep it to yourself. I teach you guys what I know about being under the radar, getting time in, what the laws are, that type of thing. But I don't specifically say, go play this exactly, because you have to learn it for yourself. There's already a lot of competition out there, and I'm happy to help anyone that wants help, but I need to see that they're doing their stuff, and they already know something, and they need a little bit of a clarification. For example, I'm playing this, do I do it this way or this way? How do you like to do it? I've seen it both ways, Anyway, I don't know. I just finished watching the video and I felt bad for the guy because he seems like a really good guy, like we could be friends, but he found out the hard way how things are. So, and early on, I learned the hard way from Blackjack Apprenticeship, where I would be on there and I had already learned how to count cards, and I had already made over 100,000 counting cards at that point before I even became a member. And I became a member because I wanted some advice, because I'd been backed off my local and I was trying to figure out the best way to proceed. I thought it was the end of the world. Now I wish I could go back to those days where I still had so many options. And I'd be in the chat rooms and I'd say, hey, I made $800 today, guys, and $600 yesterday. And people would be like, why are you saying that? You're trying to make people feel bad? You're trying to make yourself out to be better than other people? No, I'm trying to motivate other people and be a team player and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people have said it other than me, that they are so nasty to people sometimes. It's like they know everything. This is how you count cards, and just ask me technical questions about that, but don't get into any other things in the casino. There's dozens of things in the casino you can do to make money, but they act like those things don't really exist, and they steer you away from them, and they don't want anyone to talk about them. There was a guy who started a Discord channel about some of the other stuff that we do, and he ended up getting kicked out. He talked too much, he asked too many questions, and it was because of him that they limited the general chat to only certain hours of the day. And I think it might be open more than that, but so I understand they want to protect their brand, they want to make money, and I know Colin's a good guy, he's a nice guy, and he doesn't want conflict, but now he's got conflict because now there's other people competing with him. I can think of 4 others right off the top of my mind that are competing with him, and he doesn't want to go to court and sue anybody. So, you're going to get what you're going to get. These other people are more flashy. They have an internet presence. They're willing to show more information, and they're going to lose market share because of it. He's going to lose market share because of it. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with this other than I feel bad for the guy, and we got a long way to go here. We're going to stop in about an hour and a half for a meeting, and then 2 more meetings later on, and we'll get things figured out. I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back. I was in there for almost 4 hours. Miserable 4 hours, but I was in there, got to see some people that I knew, talk to them for a little bit, and couldn't get much done. Walked in, found a machine right away. It was in good position. Played that one, won like $40 or so on there. Found another one, won a couple bucks on there. I was up like $70-80 on the slots, And then I played partners on like 4 of them, anywhere between $4 and higher a spin, between $2 and higher a spin. And between 4 of those plays, I ended up ahead 125. So 125 on those few slots there. And then the slots that I played on my own had some ups and downs. Really were never really the greatest positions. They were positive, but not the greatest. And I ended up ahead another $50 on there. So that's 175, 125 for the team plus 50 on my own. I did play some poker. I played a 1-3 mix game, which is an interesting game. And I like that game, actually. I think it's a worthwhile game. I think if you're patient and you have the right people on the table, which I feel like I did, you could make some money. I played that for a little over an hour, hour and a half maybe, and ended ahead 158 on that one. So overall, we're like plus a little over 300 right now. I tried to play online last night. I wasn't able to because I'd reached some limits. So hopefully today I'll be able to do some online, maybe while we're driving, and try to make a little bit more money. But right now it's 85 degrees outside, and we're going to go grab some food. We're going to head home in a little bit, and then at home I have to pick up food for my kids' game. Everyone takes turns bringing food to the game, and we don't just bring food to the game. My wife goes to a bakery and gets bread, goes to a deli and gets meat and cheese, and builds these really nice boxes like subs and chips and drinks and all this stuff for the kids. Just goes overboard on it, in my opinion, but spends a lot of money on those. Everyone else gets like Jimmy John's, like a 3-inch sub or some stupid thing, and they're hungry right away. But she gets some nice big sub buns, fresh made and everything. So that's that. Now, there was that other thing going on tonight, and I was thinking about going to it, but now my wife's not feeling well, so she's going to make the food, and I'm going to take it to the game. That's not until about 8 o'clock, almost 8 o'clock tonight, so it gives me a little bit of time. So let's go get some food right now, and then figure out what we're going to do from here. So, yeah, I did talk to a friend of mine there. We are going to take another trip at the end of September. Looks like probably 4 days out of town. So when I get back from Texas, we'll probably leave the week after that, try to make some money. And then October, I think we'll be in Vegas. So it's starting to come to fruition here. I mean, what can we do? We have to travel. So unfortunately, when you travel, you have a bigger nut to overcome. You have to pay for the flight. I don't pay for rooms, but you pay for the flight. You pay for a rental car. So you have to make a little bit more each time to be able to pay for it. So, yeah. And, I got to consider, too, in Vegas, maybe I don't get a rental car. Maybe try things a different way. I have to sit down and add up all the money I spend on Ubers otherwise and see which one's more worthwhile. Because you can take a shuttle to the casino from the airport for free, and then you can take shuttles between some casinos to each other for free. So I got to think that over. Anyway, right now let's go grab some food. I'll be back. All right, guys, beautiful day out. Not a lot of money, but very nice day. Unfortunately, and I say this in the nicest way possible, I'm going to have to be outside watching the game here in a little bit in the heat, but it's not terrible. 82 degrees right now. Hazy skies. Not a bad day. It's all right. A little bit of a breeze, not much. Overall, could be much worse. I did stop for some fuel, and we should be good till tomorrow now. I did play online also, and the site that I was supposedly not limited on, I can't play on right now. And the site that I am limited on, I was able to play, but not very much. So I was able to make $212 plus $212 online. And right now we're just continuing toward home. And again, what do you do tomorrow? Now here's the thing, they're going to be putting in a new game tomorrow at the same casino. Do I come back is the question. They're either going to turn it on tonight or tomorrow morning. And if that's true, I should see if anyone can check if they turned it on tonight. And if they didn't, maybe I should leave home early tomorrow. It turns out that I did not have all those meetings today. They were actually tomorrow. And now there are more. So tomorrow we have 6 meetings, 4 of which we absolutely have to attend. I'm considering just staying home, playing poker, going to the close by casino, and then maybe on Friday traveling. And then of course early Saturday morning we're going to be leaving for the cruise, so expect some delays in episodes at that point. So those are the things that I'm thinking about right now. But we did make $212, so that's good. I think we were up like 300, so we're up like 500. So we're piecing it together in a very ugly way. We're piecing it together, but we're slowly making it, so it's all right. I do want to try to update my spreadsheets before we leave for the trip, because I'm so far behind on the spreadsheets. I've just been buried with so much stuff going on. But I will do my best to do that and update you on that soon. What else? I guess we can do some segments. This is the 1776 countdown, where I count down the top 1,776 reasons why I love the United States of America. And we're going to continue on today with the 5th President of the United States. And as I was thinking about this, I thought, man, there's so much important information that is lost that we don't learn about in schools. And maybe when I retire, 5 years, 10 years from now, maybe I'll do something more in depth about each of these topics here. Maybe even interview people who teach about it, or people who were there at different things throughout history. Maybe, for example, World War II vet, different people from different industries and things like that. I've always wanted to do those kinds of interviews, and maybe we'll get a chance to do it. But anyway, moving on here, 5th President of the United States. And I hinted a little bit about this person when we talked about the 4th President, who was John Quincy Adams. And this person is James Monroe. James Monroe was born April 28th, 1758 in Westmoreland County, Virginia. Right? 5th President, served 2 terms, and he was the last founding father, so to speak, that served as president. Right? He fought in the American Revolutionary War and joined the Continental Army at age 18. And he was wounded in the Battle of Trenton in 1776. He studied at the College of William and Mary, although before he graduated, he did leave to go serve in the war. He was the governor of Virginia 5 times, and he was also a U.S. senator from Virginia before he became president. And he served as Secretary of State under James Madison. Now, are we seeing some kind of a cycle happening here, a pattern happening here? John Quincy Adams served under James Monroe, and now we're talking about, even this is after he was president, he served under him, and now James Monroe served under James Madison as Secretary of State after he was president as well. So what we see here is a lot of these founding fathers and early presidents, they were in it to help, to do whatever that they needed to do to stay in those circles, to help forward the benefits that the country needed, the needs that the country had, that were there to try to push those forward. Monroe helped negotiate the Louisiana Purchase while serving as a diplomat in Europe through Thomas Jefferson, and ultimately authorized the purchase. Thomas Jefferson authorized it, but James Monroe did help negotiate it. And as president, he acquired Florida from Spain through the Adams-Onis Treaty of 1819. Now, who were these people? Now, we were talking about John Quincy Adams and some of the things that he had negotiated, and we didn't talk about this one, but John Quincy Adams was Secretary of State at this time, and Luis de Onis was a Spanish diplomat who negotiated on behalf of Spain. So what happened was the United States attacked Florida, which was in Spanish hands at that point, because the Seminole communities, along with some escaped enslaved people in Florida, sometimes conducted raids into U.S. territory. So the United States attacked Florida, and then they negotiated a treaty in which Spain gave up Florida to the United States and established a boundary of territory between Spanish possessions in North America, and Spain gave up its claims to the Pacific Northwest of the north of the parallel, the 42nd parallel, and the United States gave up its claims to Texas as part of the agreement, and so on. So my point is that John Quincy Adams was part of this, and then also James Monroe was part of future things with future administrations. So I think it's very important to kind of demonstrate how dedicated these people were to the country. And also the Missouri Compromise of 1820 was passed during James Monroe's presidency, and this is the one that had me thinking, man, we need to spend more time on these things, because Missouri Compromise, talk about complicated. The purpose of it was to maintain balance between free states, the number of free states, and the number of slave states. And how controversial can you get? Even bringing up a subject like that, saying, oh, okay, we have this many of these and this many of these, what should this state be? Wow, imagine if we had today's news at that time, the reporting and all the in-depth stuff we can do right now. Imagine the headlines that would have happened. Overall, James Monroe's presidency was often called the era of good feelings, because after the conflict of the War of 1812 was over, there was less partisanship in the country. And in the 1820 presidential election, he won re-election by an overwhelming electoral victory. Remember, we talked about no one has won all the electoral votes except for George Washington. Well, James Monroe won 231 to 1 for John Quincy Adams. 231 to 1. And he was also famous for the Monroe Doctrine, which we talked about earlier in the last episode with John Adams, who was also associated with that, and that talked about Europe staying out of our business and the Western Hemisphere, and us staying out of their business. So here's another amazing thing. So Thomas Jefferson and John Adams both died on July 4th, 50 years after the country was founded. James Monroe was the third president to die on July 4th. Of only 5 presidents, 3 of them died on July 4th. He died in 1831, 55 years after the establishment of the country. So, again, I said he was pretty much the last, quote, founding father to serve as president. But, man, what amazing information there is in U.S. history, and I wish we could open up the books further than what we do. History is very important, and it's important to learn from the past so we don't make the same mistakes. But I hope this gives you a little bit of a hint as to what was going on at that time with the 5th president, and maybe it'll open up your mind enough to say, hey, I want to go research some of this stuff, and maybe you'll learn other stuff, and you'll email me and say, MW, this was awesome. You opened up my mind to just a little bit, to wanting to learn a little bit more, and I learned all these amazing things about this country. So that is the 5th president, James Monroe, another reason why I love the United States of America. So we can do some other segments. What did you eat today, MW? I actually had some baked goods. I also had some multiple juices from Wendy's. I've now done 24 purchases toward pays out of the 40 possible purchases that I can do, and I'll wrap them all up by the end of this week. And we have tons of food, tons of juice, and other things. But I did get 2 junior bacon cheeseburgers along with that, and they were okay. I mean, they were already small, and then even 20 years ago they made them smaller, and then they made them more expensive and more expensive, but I think they're okay. I'm going to give it an 8 on a scale of 2 through ace. What did you tip today, MW? I tipped $1 a hand on the poker I played, probably 4 or 5 hands. I wasn't there very long. And what did you learn today, MW? Well, I mean, I learned that these new machines are coming online in the next 24 hours, so that's interesting and important. I learned that I'm now limited probably from the 2 places that I play online, so I may be looking for other places to play. And I did communicate, like I told you, with someone that has a podcast about credit cards and things like that. I am kind of I don't know. I feel like I want to go back and do more with credit cards, but now a lot of the ways that I was churning the credit cards disappeared. Although there's still a lot of things that I was doing before with purchases and stuff, buying and selling, things like that are still possible. And some other things. So I will probably work on that in the next few months. Right now, I want to kind of settle into where I am and close out a lot of old credit cards that are almost a year old, that it's almost time to pay the annual fee on them, and then get those closed and open up some new ones and start fresh, trying to earn 200, 300,000 points, which it's a lot of fun, actually. So yeah, but other than that, we're going to head home, grab this food, and head to this game, and I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.